Perfect. Let's do this. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be back at Motion's Make Ads That Converts event. If you don't know me, my name is Mirella Crespi. I'm the founder and CEO of Creative Milkshake and director of Ad Creative Academy. And today we're going to talk about the AI-augmented team of the future. So quickly about Ad Creative Academy, it's the world's first academy for AI-powered creative strategists going live in July. I am teaching a course there alongside some of the brilliant minds in advertising like Seth Godin, George Mack, and so many others. And Creative Milkshake is a creative strategy and production studio that helps brands scale their paid social campaigns with direct response creatives. So at Creative Milkshake, over the past couple years, we have created and tested thousands of ads for the world's biggest advertisers. And today I'm going to share with you our current view on what's going on, all the recent updates, how the biggest brands are thinking about AI. And we're going to be looking at what's going on now, but also most specifically looking ahead to the future. So before we dive in, it's important to preface by saying that we are entering the next era of online advertising. And 2025 specifically really marked this shift. All of the recent launches with generative AI, all the new language models coming out, AI agents really coming to the front of creative strategy and production, but also all of the algorithms changes that are going on in the platforms that we pour most of our budgets into. These platforms and algorithms are changing very fast. And the volume of creative content needed to succeed has exploded beyond what any human team can manually produce. I can tell you that the biggest advertisers, the most successful brands across Meta, TikTok, and YouTube, they launch upwards of 50 to 100 creatives every week. And it's for a reason. So this is what's going to happen now. It's an AI-powered creative strategy era where creative teams are going to focus on research-driven strategic execution of high-quality creatives that focus on concept and format variety. And it's this beautiful blend of strategy, creativity, and AI. I'm really excited and I don't fear AI. I think it is here to augment us, empower us, and allow us to do so much more than what was possible before. So let's first talk about creative diversity. And if you hear me speak before, you're probably like, oh, she's talking about creative diversity again. It's like the only thing she talks about. She's always yapping about creative diversity, but it is so important. This Meta's most recent algorithm update, literally happening now in June. Meta now trains directly from every asset you upload. And it's not only Meta, it's Google, it's TikTok. All the AI powered algorithms now train on every single assets that you upload. They can scan your assets and already know everything they need to know about your brand, your product, and then decide who to serve it to. So it's more important than ever that you focus on the quality of your creative, but also on feeding the algorithm enough variety to allow it to find your audience and unlock new audiences for you. So these algorithm changes require a more structured creative development process. Small variations like we used to do before don't really move the needle. It used to be that we would pull our creative reports and be like, okay, the hook rate is low. So let's try changing this one title on the hook and trying to make these small little fixes on creatives. They don't move the needle anymore. The algorithm has become more mature and more robust where it literally considers that the same creative. So concepts, hooks, personas, formats, execution styles must be different enough for the algorithm to identify them as different. So moving forward, the best way to structure your creative strategy and think about how to develop your ads is imagining that they would be tested ideally as recommended in an ASC campaign with different folders for each concept. And each concept can be executed in many different ways. They can be an image or a carousel or a video, and then the winners signal that it's time to then iterate on that. So with this in mind, it's important to kind of take a couple step back and talk about what is a concept, because a concept is not a format. That's very important to clarify. And to answer the question of what is a concept, we have to go back to the fundamentals of creative strategy and research and really getting inside the mind of your consumer. Because the truth is, platforms and algorithms are going to change, but consumer psychology doesn't. Human nature doesn't change. And that's a beautiful thing. So when you are developing a concept, you want to identify the who, the why, and the what. The who is the persona. Who are they? Who are the people that you're trying to reach? Who is your ideal target audience? That needs to be super clear. Your emotional motivator is the why they buy. What are the pain points, the problems that they're trying to solve? What objections do they have? What are some trigger events that cause them to buy? And what are the benefits? What matters to them? How is your product or service solving the pain points that they have? And then your offer, which is what they buy. The offer is not necessarily the price or the bundle. It's more about what are you expecting them to convert on, if it's a quiz or a product bundle or an app install. So a concept is a combination of who they are, why they buy, what matters to them, and what they buy. Now, once that concept is mapped and developed, you then kind of have your big idea, then you bring over to execution, and it can be executed in so many different ways. I love to say that every ad creative is a hypothesis that needs to be tested. So this is the first stage of your creative strategy development, really thinking about what are these elements that we're trying to validate once these creatives go live. So this is a creative diversification guide that we like to refer to. So once you have your concept and your big idea, there are so many different ways that you can execute this big idea. You can turn it into a static image, a graphic animation, a short video, a long video, a carousel. It can be a lo-fi UGC video. It can be a hi-fi polished video or a lifestyle shoot. And it can be created for so many different placements across so many different channels. The goal at the end of the day is to achieve creative diversity, volume, and velocity. Now let's look at a quick example of a brand that exercises creative diversity and volume and velocity very well. If you're familiar with Il Maquillage, you know that they test hundreds, if not thousands, of creatives, and they're really good at diversifying their strategy. They have creatives that reach their consumers through the customer's voice. So the classic UGC videos, unboxings, demos, storytelling, creatives that come from the brand's voice, and creatives that come from this third or expert voice. Great example of a brand that really understands creative diversity, velocity, and volume. They're always testing a huge range of different concepts executed in so many different ways. Let's look at other examples. So brand voice. These can be ads that come from the brand's perspective. Even though they look and feel native, UGC, they still have a bit more of a polished look and they follow brand guidelines. Then ads that use the customer voice, they're a bit more ugly, they don't follow brand guidelines, and they're meant to look and feel like organic content. And the expert voice are ads that kind of have that more professional, objective point of view, highlighting a more third-party voice, whether it's an expert on stage or a podcast or a TV interview. And this also translates to statics. So these would be examples of what brand, native user, and expert point of view would look like. So when you're developing your concepts and thinking about your creative strategy, always think about how you can execute your creatives in different voices, point of views, styles, and so on. This is why I developed my agent together with Motion to help you achieve creative diversity. Some of the tasks that my agent can do is to help you identify that persona, that first question when developing your concepts. Who are they? Why they buy? What matters to them? And suggest some content that works. And it helps you as well with concept ideation. So it will look through all the concepts you've tested in your ad account, and it will suggest new concepts and formats for you to test to help you find that perfect creative mix that allows you to scale. Now, here's the challenge. Executing so many different concepts and so many different formats to unlock winners requires significant production budget and time. So a current solution that my team has found, especially when the ChatGPT image generation rolled out, is what we call the AI-powered creative sprint, where we combine AI assets with human instinct and data validation. So this is what it looks like. We sit down in a brainstorm with our clients or just with our team, and we start filling out that concept map that I showed you, outlining the different ideas that we have. We then prompt that into a ChatGPT for image generation to generate a lot of different image variations, testing different messaging, different visuals, different personas, and we do the human instinct gut check. Does this resonate? Is this good enough? Is it aligned with the brand? Do we feel good about setting this live? Is this going to help us learn what we need to learn from testing these images? Then we set these live and let them run for about 7 days. And you'd be surprised with how much you can learn just from seeing what resonates or not. This is a very quick, easy, and affordable way to test and validate ideas. And you can scale what resonates, ditch what doesn't, and then brief into production what gains traction. So if you find some winners right out the gates, amazing, start iterating on these static ads that have gained traction. And also that can be used to inform what you brief into your longer production cycles, your videos, your studio productions. So it really gives you an opportunity to test and validate ideas and make your entire production and cycle more efficient. So here's an example of what this would look like. We would do a brainstorm, come up with some image ideas, lots of different variations of copy, of visuals, showing different types of people, maybe a blonde or a brunette or younger or older, different angles. And the images that show the best results, that have the best signals, that look like they're resonating, they then inform the production of videos, that would take a lot longer, right? Because you have to script the video, you have to book the talent, you have to shoot the content, you have to edit it. And before, we would go through that entire production cycle to then test these video assets, and some would work, some would not. We then start to iterate. But now, with this quick AI creative sprint, we have kind of tested and validated some of these concepts before we brief them into video production. So as you can see, the static image then kind of informs everything from casting to visuals to what the hook will look like. So I hope this helps to give you an idea of how you can use AI and a quick creative sprint with your team to generate assets that can quickly be tested and validated to then inform longer production cycles. Okay, let's kind of switch tabs and talk about AI agents and agentic teams. In the last 6 months at Creative Milkshake, there's been a huge restructuring of the team as we started to really implement AI agents into our workflows and really think about how we can become an AI-powered creative team. So first, let's talk about the difference between an AI agent and an agentic team, because sometimes I see these words being used in different scenarios, but they're not necessarily the same. So an AI agent is like one team member. So for example, a strategist who takes a brief and creates an angle or a script, or a video editor that takes a storyboard and turns it into a polished cut. It works well on its own, but it really sticks to its lane. So having agents in your team is perfect if you can identify some simple workflows and tasks that you can automate. That's an AI agent. An agentic team is like your entire creative pod. A strategist, a copywriter, a producer, an editor, and a project manager, all working together to deliver a campaign. So each agent plays a role and passes work back and forth, adjusts based on feedback, and drives towards the final creative deliverable with minimal human involvement. Right now, we are still in the AI agent phase, but we're moving towards the agentic team phase, which is really exciting to see. So let me share with you a little sneak peek into what our multi-agent AI org chart looks like to inspire yours as well. So on the left, we have the AI head of strategy. And these are not independent agents. They're always kind of like a co-pilot to a human, right? So the AI head of strategy has three different agents below them. There's the research agent, the ideation agent, and the copywriting agent. The research agent performs specific tasks. They do competitor research, audience research, trends research, and persona identification. So that's the first step of the process. And these agents are usually built with either Gumloop or N88, and they use probably tools you already know, like Perplexity, GigaBrain, Reddit, sourcing files from your own customer reviews, scanning social media like TikTok and Reels and YouTube Shorts, foreplay, motion, and so on. The ideation agent will run tasks such as an ad account audit, a creative analysis, concept development, iteration briefing, and generating briefs into production as well. And the copywriting agent can script for videos, can write copy for images, and generate new hooks. The AI head of production agents is responsible for sourcing talent and assets. So we have the image generation agent that would generate product photography, would generate ugly image ads or lifestyle images. The video agent would brief the AI avatar creation. It would also make AI B-roll, would tag content and remix UGC. The audio agent does things like voiceovers, music, sound effects, and the post-production agents take care of the editing and the quality control of the videos as well. So as you think about how you're going to structure your AI creative augmented team of the future, start from the bottom, just outlining what are the tasks that I can break it up into, that are repeatable, build agents for that. Then you start to build your agentic team and start to think about how are they going to share information with each other. Motion has been doing a lot of this beautiful hard work for us, allowing us to build agents that plug into your ad account data. That is literally mind-blowing, beautiful, incredible, because that means that every single decision that your agent is making is based on data and it's informed on what's working in your ad account. And that's literally the best case scenario. So definitely take that 14-day free trial and start running tasks in the Motion agent to figure out how you can start thinking about how these agents fit within your creative team. All right, let's switch tabs again. And let's talk about how we are using AI in creative production. So I just shared how we are using AI in the operations side of things, on the strategy side of things. But how does this look like in creative execution? So one of the main things we're doing is blending AI with UGC. And before I play some examples, it's important to note that I wish we had the opportunity to do more with AI. Right now, I want to say 95% of the creatives we deliver every week are still very much human only focused content. But behind the scenes, I am pushing my team and I am talking to brands that are excited to be testing AI, that are open to it. And I'm excited for the future. But for now, it's still kind of this very early transition period where 95% of the content we create is still in our studio with our content creators and our actors. But let me show you what I mean by blending AI and UGC. So the first two ads that I'm going to play, these are AI talking heads, so AI avatars blended with UGC B-roll. I'll play the first one.
Your boss wants a viral campaign in 1 hour? You need this tool. I used to waste hours jumping from different design apps and tools, but then I found Breakout Clips, and it leveled up our campaigns. They've got over 1,000 video templates to make any content pop. Sales posts, holiday promos, giveaways, even seasonal content, all in one place. The flexibility is insane. It literally takes 1 minute. Super easy, no design skills needed. Get started for free now on breakoutclips.com.
Okay, now let's watch a second one.
If a guy's wearing this on a date, he's coming home with me. My boyfriend owns 7 of these perfect tees. They make his chest and arms look so good. I'm not mad seeing him wear a different color every day. They're made with 95% organic cotton and 5% spandex.
Okay, so classic AI talking heads with UGC B-roll, just super well edited. Now let's look at some different ways to think about and use AI.
It looks like magic. It feels like nothing. It stays like it's part of you. Welcome to the lip revolution. Forget lipsticks, ditch your old lip liners. Don't even think about microblading. This isn't makeup, it's science. Pigments infused directly into your top lip layer, sealed with our award-winning technology. All natural ingredients for unbelievable results. We broke the internet and went viral for a reason. The hype is real. The innovation featured in Vogue, Elle, and Allure. Now the secret weapon in celebrity makeup bags worldwide. Experience Wonderskin's ultimate lip set. Join the thousands who've already discovered why traditional lipstick now feels obsolete. Tap to transform your lip.
And another example of a more like VSL style video that combines AI and UGC B-roll.
This is a shield to protect your. If you're watching this, it's because you're being exposed to EMF radiation daily without realizing the long-term consequences. Studies show EMF can significantly reduce testosterone levels and sperm count, concentration, and mobility. This happens through constant exposure to phones in pockets, laptops on laps, and the tech that surrounds us 24/7. But there's still hope. Haven's Wave Stopper technology is different. Wave Stopper boxer briefs block over 99.7% of wireless radiation with 360-degree coverage. Pure silver technology not only blocks radiation, but is naturally antimicrobial, fighting odors and staying fresh 3 times longer. Your reproductive health protection shouldn't be an afterthought. The simple choice you make each morning could safeguard your future family plans. Haven Wave Stopper Boxer Briefs. Protection where it matters most.
Another way we've been using AI is using it to augment reality. So just outside of your classic blending AI talking heads and B-roll with UGC, but just creating these really stunning visuals that are really scroll stopping and help elevate creatives has been really fun to play with as well. And also elevating hooks. So AI is amazing to help us create out of the ordinary things that really help us kind of enhance the visuals of telling a story, whether it's asking a question about a problem if you're feeling bloated, or holding on to your baby's outgrown clothes like you're drowning in them, or talking about indulging during holiday season. We really like to play with AI to create these scroll stopping visuals that are really fun to do. And then creating B-roll and product demos from images. So a challenge we have often is when we onboard a new brand, they don't necessarily have a lot of B-roll or great product demos that we can use right away. We have to either shoot this content or source it. And my team has been so creative and with problem solving when it comes to this. So this is one of our clients that sells these like super fun, beautiful products for hairstylists, and we had this one clip under the original footage, but we wanted to show more product demos in the ads featuring all of these other beautiful bright colored patterns that they have. And with AI, we're literally able to take images like the ones on the right that they had on their websites and social media already, and to create these really stunning, realistic demos just from some images. So we're really able to significantly improve production efficiency and to create assets that really highlight the product in the best way without having to ship product to a lot of hairstylists and wait for them to get their clients to use it, yada, yada, yada. So here's another way how AI can help with creative production. We also use AI a lot to augment set design. So, like I said, we never outsource creative production to external creators, actors. We shoot everything in-house. So we have this opportunity to really use AI to help augment the sets that we already custom build for every shoot. And it's fascinating what it can do to help us take our shoots and content to the next level. Now, here's what AI cannot do yet. If we're thinking about creating concepts that are funny, like comedy skits or couples comedy, where you have that very human interaction between two people, or these beautiful product demos and fun transitions that replicate organic content, you also can't have AI go into a store, into a real retail store, and shop for your product like it was the hook on this ad. That it cannot do yet. So of course we still see the value in working with actors and content creators to create a lot of custom content, but it is really amazing what AI is able to do. So just to challenge the conversation and explore kind of the biggest objection that I see at the moment, which is the talk about like authenticity and human emotion, but AI cannot convey human emotion. We've been experimenting a lot with that. Let me show you a few examples. So these are some hooks for some ads that we created. I'll let you guess which one you think is AI and which one's human.
I will never forgive myself for this.
So she's saying, I will never forgive myself for this.
I will never forgive myself for this. I will never forgive myself for this. I will never forgive myself for this.
Another one.
I don't understand why nobody told me about this before. I don't understand why nobody told me about this before.
So obviously, for the trained eye, there are many things that allows you to notice that that is AI. The slight blur, the mouth movement, and the camera movement are not 100% yet. Let's look at another one.
You're really missing out if you haven't seen this. You're really missing out if you haven't seen this.
After watching this, how do you feel watching these as a human? If you feel a little bit disturbed, if you feel like this icky feeling, you're not alone. It is crazy. It is disturbing. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's very interesting because we are the generation that is burdened with this question. We are the ones that have to deal with this transition. And we were the ones that we were born with the internet as well, right? So we've had to go through a lot of transitions, and this is just one of them. The next generation, our kids and their kids, they won't question this. It will just be the reality. And it's so fascinating to be in this position, to be us as creatives, as advertisers, as founders, brand owners, to be the ones manipulating this technology, to be the ones using it and testing it, and sitting with this feeling and having conversations about the ethics of it and what does it mean and what is the future going to be like. And I'll follow up with, what is the difference between using a paid actor that comes into a studio and reads a script or using an AI avatar? Is there a difference? I've also been thinking about this a lot. And I don't think there is a difference, but I would love to Q&A and hear your points of view and your thoughts about it. I think that anyone that tells you there is a difference is probably because they have something to lose. And what is the difference between a good AI ads and a bad AI ads? Right now, the technology is so new. I remember, I don't know if you were at the Motion event 6 months ago, where we had a conversation about AI, and my stance was very different. I said, no, AI is not going to replace content creators. AI is not going to replace humans. People are going to want to buy from people. People want to see human content. I was wrong. I have changed my mind completely. Everything that has developed and changed and the things that I've been able to test and create with my team, what happens when AI is imperceptible? When you cannot tell if it's real or not real? What is real? What is the difference between a good animation and a bad animation, right? If we're talking about Pixar or Disney movies, the difference is great storytelling and bad storytelling, great graphics and bad graphics. That's going to be the difference between a good AI ad and a bad AI ad. Is the same difference as a good ad and a bad ad. The script sucks, the actor sucks, the content is just not great. So, food for thought, which leads to the next question of, will content creators be replaced by AI? Yes. Unfortunately, yes. I'm not talking about influencers. I think that humans will still want to follow humans and consume content from other humans. And when a brand works with an influencer, is for a completely different reason. They want to tap into their audience and associate their brand with that person's personal brand. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about performance creatives. I'm talking about advertising, content that is designed to target an audience, tell a story, sell a product or service, present a solution. A lot of the AI avatars that we can generate now are arguably better than most average or bad content creators. So, of course, the 1% of the content creators will still be relevant. But unfortunately, AI is going to replace a lot of them. And it's not just content creators, it's everything. If we think about a fashion shoot, before you had the art was in the photography, the art direction, the set design, the styling, the light guy, all of that needed to happen for this beautiful shoot to come to life. Now the art is in prompt engineering and using the right tools and the right prompts. But what matters is still the creative eye, the tastemakers, the people who decide if this is a good shot or a bad shot, if the outfit is right, if the lighting is good. Like, the art is the same, it's just the medium has changed. And will all content we consume be AI? We're talking about AI augmented teams of the future. So if about now 10% of the content we consume is AI, fast forward 3-4 years from now, maybe 80% of it will be AI. So as a founder, as a creative person, as an agency owner, as a creative strategist, really try to think about how you're going to future-proof your brand and yourself and your career, and what role you play as these things, as the earth is shifting under our feet, right? Because AI has forever changed the creative process. The focus for us as creatives should be on strategic impact over production efforts. Because right now, everyone is confused. I have conversations with other agency owners, big agency owners, small agency owners, big brands, small brands. Everyone is trying to make sense of like wrapping their head around what's going on. How do we think about this? How do we charge for it? Right? Because everything is so different now. But at the end of the day, AI can scale outputs, it can remix references, generate endless variations, but it cannot tell us what will resonate. It cannot understand the nuance of what moves an audience. And that's the beauty of creative strategy. Like I said before, platforms and algorithms change, but consumer psychology doesn't. Judgment, taste, risk, humor, weirdness, cultural sensitivity, these are the things that only you as a creative human can bring to the work. So the tools may change, but the essence of what we do, telling stories that connect, that make people feel, that remains unchanged. And the truth is, the audience isn't really focused on how the content is created. They care about the stories we tell, the problems that your product or service solves, and how it makes them feel. When people are scrolling in these small screens on their phones, like, it's hard. It's going to get harder and harder to catch what is AI. But when AI is poorly used, when it's used with the intent to trick someone, like those deep fakes or just terrible AI avatars, no one will respond well to that. I see a lot of negative engagement in AI ads now because it's still perceptible. You can still kind of tell it's AI. And no one likes that. We have a negative emotional response as a user, as a consumer. We feel tricked. But when AI is used as a shortcut, the audience will spot it. But if we use AI with care to augment ideas, to elevate the stories we tell, then people feel it too. When it's used well in bold, creative, funny, or beautiful ways, it's also well received. It is important to say that like we're in this weird stage now where enforcement is really patchy. Sometimes I see stuff running and I'm like, oh, that's why we can't have nice things. Like some people will literally ruin it. Like they will push the boundaries and do stuff that is literally not legal. And it will force platforms and governments to really start being stricter and stricter on the compliance side of things. And because enforcement is still patchy now, the trust is on us as creative teams to use AI ethically. I'm not a lawyer, so always consult with a lawyer. But here are some compliance guidelines that we always try to follow. If there is an actor playing a customer and offering an opinion or a result, and yes, this does apply to any UGC creator that you hire and send your product to and brief them to read a script on camera and you use that content in your ads. Technically, according to the FTC, you should have a very clear disclaimer text on your ad that says paid actor, not a customer. If an actor is dramatizing a scenario with no testimonial, if they're demoing your product or showing a transformation, paid actor portrayal results may vary. It clarifies that the scene is scripted and it's not live action proof. If an AI avatar is delivering a testimonial or appearing to be human, you should have very clear on the bottom of the video, AI generated avatar. This will tell the video that this person isn't real and avoids this kind of deepfake perception. And if you're using AI to generate B-roll to visualize the product benefits, then you should outline simulated imagery. The text needs to be super clear, not covered by UI elements. These are some current guidelines. I expect that a lot is going to change in the next 6 months to a year, where more and more AI content is being used. And enforcement is going to come both from the platform side, but also entities like the FTC. So if you're thinking about how to navigate all of these changes that are happening, if you are a leader, try to protect and prioritize strategic thinking, not just output. It's going to be hard to navigate these changes and conversations with your clients when you start using more and more AI in your work, and questions around how to price things and what's the value of things, because everyone has that impression that like, oh, because it's AI, it's like so cheap and easy to do and they can kind of do it themselves. Why would I pay you? Which is a total misconception. So prioritize strategic thinking, not just, quantity and output. Job descriptions will change. Some roles will shrink or disappear, but new ones will emerge. I saw that within my own team in the last 6 months. Some roles became irrelevant, but others, like prompt engineers and AI agent managers, start to emerge. And plan intentional upskilling, blending tech with emotional intelligence. I mentioned this on the last motion events we did, but I give my team an AI day. So everyone in my team, a team of 30 people, they all get access to all of the tools, any course and training that they need. And they have a full paid day every month to just dive in and teach themselves AI, play around with prompts. I think that's super important to lead empathetically, because creative teams need that breathing room to adjust. A lot is changing so fast. And if you are a team member, work with AI, understand its mechanisms, but keep the steering wheel yourself. Think about that AI org chart I showed and try to position yourself above these agents and having them as your personal assistants, right? Become a prompt engineer for your specialty. And understand that your professional judgments and taste, your creative eye, your judgment, that's your differentiator. And refine your creative eye as much as your technical skill sets, and treat the machine as a co-pilot, never the boss. And build agents to automate your busy work. How amazing would it be if you can go to your boss and say, hey boss, I built 3 agents working under me, now I manage all of them. That's the dream for any team lead. So if you need help with your creatives to navigate Meta's most recent algorithm changes, or TikTok as well, reach out to Creative Milkshake. And if you want to learn more about creative strategy, developing concepts, scripts, building AI agents, and becoming a world-class creative strategist in the era of AI, go to addcreativeacademy.com, sign up and get on the wait list. It's going live in July. I'm really excited to be a part of it. There are brilliant minds in the industry and advertising sharing everything they know. It's a masterclass type course. It's beautiful and it's insanely valuable. And it's like a career-changing investment. All right. Thank you so much. I will stop sharing and move to the Q&A.
Wow, Mirella. Oh my goodness. I feel like you did such a good job of having a strong opinion and labeling it there, but also presenting all sides of the potential outcomes, opinions, and everything in there. So that was incredible. Incredible. Chat, let's give a round of applause, please. Okay, we have a few questions that have popped in. I'm gonna start grabbing from the top to the bottom, but I think like one thing I wanted to call out really quickly here is, Mirella, I feel like you did such a good job at different altitudes of conversation. So it's like you talked about the future and where we're going, but then also married it to today and like what are some of the tactical pieces. So I'm seeing a lot of chatter in the chat as you're talking about different pieces. And one of the things that I wanted to ask is, like, you said it a bunch in your presentation, but just to reiterate, for anyone here who might be afraid of this future, and it's like, what is this going to look like? How do you think about a first step in future-proofing yourself as we head towards like an agentic structure?
I would say basically the exercise I did for building this org chart with my team is mapping out for each role what are the day-to-day responsibilities that each individual is responsible for that carries our workflow from A to Z, right? So when like a brand gets onboarded all the way to a creative being delivered, if you were in a brand team, same thing from like a creative review or a brief all the way to the creative being delivered, and really mapping out what those are, and breaking them into these specific tasks, and then just realizing like, oh, this can be literally an AI task, and then really trying to build kind of these little agents, and really thinking about agents as if you were building a team in an org chart and as if you were hiring a team. So like, what are the roles that matter for you in your team? Is it the account manager, the project manager, the research, the copywriter, the editor, the analyst, like the data analyst, like really thinking about all these different roles and starting to have them work alongside your human team, if that makes sense. Not sure if that answers the question.
I think it helps. Like part of it too is that when I was talking to our audience on our session yesterday, we have a lot of small teams who are here. So it also becomes like, how do we stretch our capabilities and stay lean in that conversation? So I think that's the perfect way that they can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna start pulling some questions up here. I've seen a bunch talking about smaller budgets. So I'm gonna pull one of them. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, great. Here we go. So there's different variations of this question, Mirella, that I popped up. But this one is estimated lowest viable budget to run AI creative sprints. On average, how much to spend to find a winner? As well as any other insights of what you talked through and how it applies to brands with lower budgets, let's say.
Yeah, great question. So the way that I think about the AI creative sprint is not like a normal creative test, in the sense that in a normal creative test, you have your depending how you structure your ad accounts and which media buying philosophy you abide by, you can either say that each creative needs to spend 3 to 5 times CPA goal, or if you're going by the Meta Bible, is you need to let it run for 2 weeks and let it leave the learning phase or whatever. Or you can be a media buyer that will just pour those into, let's say, a CBO, and if it gets spent, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So whichever way makes sense for you. The thing about the AI creative sprint is signals. So you're trying to test and validate, see what gains traction, not necessarily wait to really allow it to spend. The goal is not to, these aren't fully fleshed out creatives. These are kind of a scratch pad of ideas, if you may, in the sense of just like, is this headline going and this visual going to resonate? And these signals will give you enough data. One will naturally rise to the top and be like, okay, this is resonating. I then can take that and kind of validate a concept that will move into creative production. Because if we didn't do that creative sprint, we're developing all of these hypotheses and we're pushing this through the creative production cycle that could take weeks for us to brief it out to creators, receive the content, edit the content to then be tested. So the goal for this is just to quickly do a test, to validate some high level ideas, to basically feel more confident briefing things into production, if that makes sense.
100%. Mirella, I'm also seeing a bunch of questions popping in around tech stack. So there's like 5 separate ones that I've seen. So I'm pulling a long one up, but it's essentially a tech stack question here. So can you talk more about the process of building these ads? Are you using AI tools like Sora/VO to create the videos and then pull all that into a program like After Effects and combining AI videos with UGC, SFX, VO? Or are you using other AI tools to build the ads themselves? Basically a laundry list of tooling, if you're able to share.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to the strategy and scripting side, we'd use a lot of gum loop and these agents to help us with research. Motion agents are great as well to help us dive deep into the creative, the ad accounts and so on. When it comes to creative production, we use a lot of different tools to source and generate the creative content. My team is really good at like playing around with tools of mixing and matching. Some might be VO, others might be an image that was generated in ChatGPT and animated in Kling. Another might be a Pika art or a Flux generation. Another might be a Mirage AI talking head or an Arc Ads avatar. Right now, who owns the content creation is the production team. All of these assets still go to post-production as they would if we sourced it from the studio or a UGC creator. Because right now, I think that's the biggest differentiator between an average and a great AI creative is the editing. It's the post-production. It's the cuts, it's the transitions, it's the timing, it's the music, it's the text overlay, it's the animations. It's knowing how to blend that AI with UGC really well, especially because you can't generate AI videos for too long. Your limit sometimes is 4 seconds, so you have to have a really good editing team to really make those polished final assets.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to pull one more question. And again, it's so interesting seeing the themes of the questions start to pop in. So Mirella, this is another long one, but I'm going to tack onto it at the end, okay? So the question itself is really, really interesting. You've had a lot of inauthenticity in brands, like you mentioned, scripted UGC. Realistically, what's the difference between paying an actor to say what you want or prompting an AI to say what you want? What do you think will be the ramifications of this? How will brands prove they are authentic in the near future? Now, the piece that I'm going to add on, because I'm seeing it in other questions that have popped up, is like there's the future state when you can't tell the difference between AI and human, like however quick or far that might be. But then there's the right now. And I think what people are interested in is like, should everybody be doing AI ads right now? Or are there specific brands where it makes sense to hold back? Ton to throw at you there, Mirella. But anything you're willing to share?
I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot. It kind of begs the question of like, is you scripted UGC, like what is authentic, right? Like, we even, I don't think UGC applies to most of this content that we're referring to. Like, it is not user-generated content. It is not a real customer that received your product and recorded a review and is featured in your ads. Sometimes it is. Sometimes brands are able to source amazing content from their real customers. If you collaborate with an influencer and you send them the product and they genuinely create content about your product, 100%. But what we're talking about in the world of like paid advertising, it's these content creators and actors that you send them a brief or a script and the product and they shoot content for you. So it's like, isn't that already like inauthentic? So that's when the disclaimers are important, because it's like, that is a paid actor that's being compensated to read that script. It just looks and feels native and organic because it is shot with an iPhone and it's lo-fi and it blends into your feed really well. But it's just a commercial, It's just like if we're shooting a TV commercial here, we have studio lights, camera, actors, like, camera rolling, they're reading a script. It's just a commercial, but because it is done in the language of the platform, that it blends into your feed, that it feels authentic, just because it's like a selfie video instead. I don't know if I'm making sense, but my point is like, it is a great question. I think as things change, it will be up to each brand to decide what is their stance on it. And I think a lot of brands will make that part of their brand identity. that we only use humans in our photo shoots, in our ads, in our, and that's okay. Like that's their choice. But a lot of other brands will do the opposite, and they will use AI to tell magical, beautiful stories. Put on YouTube. I wish I had more time. I would have shared these ads, but look up the recent Coca-Cola commercials that they created with AI. They're stunning. They're beautiful worlds that like, it's amazing. It's beautiful storytelling done with AI. So it's just about each brand stance on like, we're going to stick to what humans can do, or we're going to use AI to elevate our storytelling.
I love it, Mirella. There's a level of intentionality that you apply to answering questions in your presentation. Like even there, like it was a really good definition to reframe the minds of folks who are here. So you absolutely crushed it. Any final words that you want to leave with our audience today?
Not really. Just like, don't be afraid of AI. Like it is coming for our jobs, but we're in a great position. Like we are in this really great place where we can even be having these conversations, that we can be the first ones playing with these tools and trying these things out and redefining our jobs and our roles. I'm really excited. If you guys want to nerd out on this and talk more about it and learn more, join Ad Creative Academy. I will be there as well. And yeah, thank you so much.
So everybody, this has been real. I want to share my screen now for those of you who want to hang out and showcase a little bit more of the detail related to these agents. And if you're down, I just want to hang out and ask some questions. I'm so curious to know what people think. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Awesome, y'all. So like Mirella mentioned a bunch, and like I mentioned at the beginning of this, there is a 14-day trial for you to get these agents to serve up these insights on a platter to you so you can start to get a feel of what this new world can look like. The way that you're going to sign up is that you'll need access to an ad account for now, but you're just going to put your information in here. And through this process, you're going to be prompted to connect a data source. Why that's so important is if you connect a data source, you're going to be able to leverage someone like Mirella to be able to analyze your own data to produce certain insights. Okay. So that's the process that I recommend. And then once you're in there, you bring it to a place of, and I'll read the chat as I'm pulling different things up here. If I go to the agents, there we go. Perfect. I saw some Jimmy and Alex talk. Awesome. Everybody's talking about it. This is perfect. And then session 5, of course, there we go, Alexander. So these are the different AI creative strategists, of course, that you want to be able to add to your team. And the really cool thing about being able to add them to your team is they offer different types of tasks. So what I mean by that is, let me just pop into a Motion account. Now, for anyone who wants to get their hands a little bit dirtier and like get a peek behind the screen, I can show you what's going on within Motion. But basically, to speak to the AI tasks here, there are 2 ways to access them. The first way that you can do it is if I look within this global filter, you see here that I can conduct account-wide insights. So that means I can look into things like, hey, I want to do a social listening analysis. I want to build a base unit ad based on that creative. I want to get feedback and identify my target personas like Mirella was mentioning. I want to find a UGC creator. You see how there's unlimited potential in being able to explore these. And now the second way that you can access these insights is by actually going into a specific creative. So if I open up a creative, I'm actually able to see all the different tasks I can run as it relates to this one creative, no longer just the entire account. So I'm literally able to say, based on what's going on in this ad, I would like a new hook idea, please. Based on what's happening in this ad, can you give me another format, please? There's so many different ways that you can have this come to life. And the really cool thing is like once you start a task, they run in the background. And as soon as it's run and it's finished, you're able to access this. And now you have a very quick snackable insight that you can bring to your next meeting. So you're literally saying, okay, what's going on? Do I agree that this is why it's good? What are we able to push? And then what should that next step be? Great. Let me talk to my client. Let me talk to my team. Let me put this into a brief to a designer. There's so many different opportunities that we can make this come to life. Okay, y'all? Awesome. So the agents, you can see here how there's so many different versions of those tasks, and the outputs are incredible. The outputs start to tell you, like, how do I rework this video into a UGC format with, again, different scripting options, but things that literally provide you with what you should do next so you can bring it to a different meeting. Piece that I'm curious about is, before I dive into like getting deeper into the analysis yourself, but I'll bring up the different task lists that we can see here. What I'm curious about from you all is if anybody's tried these agents. Freddie, Melissa will throw a link into the chat right now, so you're able to try it out. But what I am curious about, if you have tried these, honestly, even if you haven't, are there specific things that you've been struggling with that you wish that you could get insights into? So these are all different answers to questions, right? And I'm curious if there's any questions that anybody here has had where it's like, oh, great, like I've really wanted to know what comments I should turn into ads or anything like that. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I think like why this is so interesting. Oh, sorry, just to repeat. Basically, I'm saying all of these different tasks are answers to specific questions, right? Because like conduct a social listening analysis is basically saying like, hey, I wonder what reviews I can turn into ads. So basically like, yeah, is there a guide of prompts? Yeah, these are the guide of tasks essentially. And then what I'm curious about is, in your world, are there any questions that you've hoped to have answers to that have been challenging for you to gather? Sam, that's the good one. What's the lowest hanging fruit with the highest impact? Really, really like that. Really like that. Just like look through my account and tell me what that is. Miriam, Reddit post answers so we can turn those into ads. Yeah, pretty good. Dive into like researching Reddit to start seeing what's going on there. I also see Natalie says, if I only have budget for one, which agent would you suggest? In all honesty, it's hard to answer because like it's going to be specific to your brand and also the types of insights. So with the 14-day trial, you can try them all out. And then whichever one resonates the most is what you can start to use. And then the chat's now going crazy. It's hard to keep up. Daniel, shout out Daniel. I've seen you all the time at these events. Do the agents consider user comments in our ads to generate insights? We don't have a task specifically for that yet, but that's a really good example. It's just like, I would love to know based on the comments what we should do. So some type of comment analysis. That's great. And then Sandra says, ooh, I love these ones. These are perfect. When I talk about like transparent and honest community, this is what we need. I'd say the UX isn't amazing yet, as I can't read it anymore. I'd say the UX isn't amazing yet, but understandable, seeing as it was just launched. It's a bit glitchy, and sorting through the tasks sorting through the tasks that have been run is a little bit clunky. I agree. There's so much that we're working through on the UI side to make it like a better experience. And I wish I had some drawings that I can show you, but I know the team is cooking up. But definitely heard. Okay, what else we got? Caleb says, here's a question. Is this primarily based on what ads are running in our account? It seems like, oh man, I can't scroll through the chat anymore. It seems like a lot of these agents would be really helpful in terms of generating net new ideas. And I cannot keep up with the chat. Sorry, y'all. You're literally trying to see me read on a screen that's like this big. So I appreciate your patience. Come up with new ideas and concepts. Can this be applied in any way? That's a really interesting call out, Caleb, because what I'd say is like to come up with new concepts, it starts with your own data. Like, what is the audience resonating with? And I think that's where you can start to see these different ideas pop up, like spark wild ad ideas based on the data. But what we're working on in the background right now is related to creative research. So just for context, everybody, what creative research is think about it as Pinterest for ads. So what you're doing is you're looking into the world at your competitors or brands you really admire to build out specific intel and boards to say like, look and feel wise, what do you want to try to emulate? So I think there's a world where it's combining both. So there's tasks that are associated to creative research that we want to be able to build out. in addition to what's actually happening in the ad account right now. So I think a marriage at some point will make a lot of sense. Let me know if that's helpful, Caleb. Cool? Awesome. Alexander's been killing it in the chat. So Alexander says, damn, I lost it, but does this hit the zeitgeist? Okay, there we go. What would be the best way if I can read anymore, what would be the best way to propose using these agents to for your team, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. What's the best way for my team to use them? Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is like the question that we want to try and help you answer is what to make next. Like, I think that's the single biggest piece to try and figure out. Like, it's a lot of work to do research. I get it. You're going to get time savings. But really what we're trying to uncover is how do you create the next banger that's going to make you a ton of money, generate a ton of leads or demos, right? So what I'd say is your team should just start looking into these different tasks and running them so they're able to start actioning upon those creative insights. So I'd literally say just run them all in an extreme world and then bring them to your next meeting that you can talk about. I know a lot of teams who are taking these insights and literally saying, yeah, curious to know how it goes. My creative team is working on it. Cool. The scrolling chat issue. I know, right, Chelsea? Jeez. Caleb, love it. Yeah, creative research all day, every day. Alexander, another question. Suggest 10 great ideas. Suggest 10 great big ideas based on top performing ads. Banger. There we go. I know Mirella has like a suggest 10 hooks based on what's going on. If I could find it, but I know she has one of those. Maybe it's an ad level piece. But yes, an ad holistically sounds very good. Why is this my best performing ad? Really good. I think there's a magnitude of different ones. It's like you can find the best performing ad in your account and then run specific tasks against that to be able to say, okay, what about it is like how to, let me see. The ads messaging is good. I think Dara has one that's going to come out at some point that's like analyze this creative and like what's working well. So you'll be able to see what's going on. Great call out, Nino. Really, really great call out. Awesome, y'all. Everybody who's still with us, were you here before? Like, were you here at a different session when I walked through Motion? I'm trying to figure out how helpful it would be for me to do it again. But if you all have seen it, I'd rather just open up like to Q&A and I can ask you all some questions. We can all chat. Yeah, Vanessa, all 5. So you've seen how this goes, right? Like you've seen all these sessions. Suri asks, can you give us an example of how these tasks function? Yes, I can. So it literally means like if I'm in a creative here, I'm choosing to say, all right, I would like for Mirella to reimagine this ad in a different format. So I'm going to run that task. Then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and conduct a more holistic version. So I can choose any of these. And just for like easy sake, I'll say spark wild ideas from the Motion side to be able to produce this. Okay. So these tasks are working in the background. And as soon as they're ready, what the output looks like are reports like this. A blank screen. No, I'm joking. I just have to reload my screen. They look like magic, like this. Here we go. So you start to see how it starts to spell out what you were looking to answer. And you can see this backlog of older tasks. We're reworking this based on feedback like we saw in the chat to make this a lot easier to access. But this is what it starts to look like, okay? Awesome. Cool. Caleb's deep in motion both these days. Shout out Caleb, man. Shout out Caleb. Chelsea asks, if we have 3 product lines running separate ad creative, it's that thing where I can't keep up with the chat anymore. Chelsea, if we have 3 product lines running separate ad accounts, do we need to pay for Motion 3 times? Are you a single brand? What I'd say is like reach out to us. Melissa can probably share a demo link so you can see and like we can talk through it. But we should be able to find ways to make it work. Because in your world, the 3 product lines, like honestly, probably don't even need to be in a separate ad account. It's just like, I'm guessing you have something with permissioning, or it's like, I won't say privacy, but the account could be shut down. So maybe something there. Alina asks, are all the tasks from different media buyers unique? Really good question. So by naming convention, you may see overlap, but here's the thing. each of these different experts has their own like taste and sauce that they apply, right? So what I will call out is that even though there may be some overlap, like something that is iterate on your hook, each of them have their own individual sauce that they apply. So I say it's worth checking out. So you're seeing the differentiation, especially as it relates to them ingesting your data and applying those insights. Cool. Cool. Alicia asks, let me know if I'm pronouncing names right, okay? Because I hate messing them up. As you're getting creative together, can you test with AI tools? And I can't keep it. Tools to do creative sprint that Mirella described without having to pay for real-time ads. So I think what Mirella was talking about was a mixture of road mapping and then testing after the fact. So for context, the way that we view sprints at Motion is similar, same, but different, right? Like hers had more comprehensive tooling involved in that process, but it's the idea of starting with your research step and then moving to the analysis step. So what I'd say there are probably tools in the world like Mirella had spoken about that can help with research, that can help with briefing and all those different pieces slowly coming out in Motion. But you always are going to want to like analyze the data once it's gone live in some way or another, okay? Cool. So what that means is Alicia, to get to your second question of does Motion only operate with data pulled from ad accounts? Yeah, that's correct. Like right now we're paid social focused. We don't ingest organic at this time or anything else. It really is paid social focused. Suri says, what if I don't have the reimagine this ad function? You should, in all honesty. Like I'd say troubleshoot it. So the way that you access these is again at two layers. One are global tasks, which means it applies to your entire account. And the other are the specific tasks. So the specific ad tasks. So I'd say like the one that you would referenced is at a specific ad level rather than the global level. Okay. Cool. Caleb, I don't know what, I don't know what is even available on the data end, but is there anything in the works in terms of engagement scoring for static image ads? We utilize those to score our video ads and find opportunities for optimization, but Mirella suggested statics being a great quick iteration testing before moving concepts to videos. So having insights might be beneficial. That's where it's interesting because like scoring wise, what I would suggest is if you're a D2C brand, just use like ROAS or CPA. Like, is this ad winning? Have I spent money on it and is it making money back for me? If the answer to that is yes, great. Transition that over and make the videos, like I'd say. But specific to scoring, what we have within Motion is what we call our Motion metrics. And the idea here is that they're built primarily for creative teams. So that means that not everyone speaks in numbers, but we know the majority of people can speak in colors, especially the traffic light system. So the idea here is within these scores, breaking videos into hook, watch, click, and converts, you're basically looking for your reds. Where am I red? AKA here, it's like my watch score sucks. People aren't watching it. And then where am I green? Ooh, my watch score is great here. Can I start to mix and match this together so I get more people watching? So long answer, but static to video like Mirella was mentioning, you're just looking for strong success of return. And then specific to video iteration, there's so many ways that you can start to have this come to life, okay? Okay, awesome. Alexander asks, stupid questions. There are no stupid questions. You know I always say that. What format do you use for writing a hypothesis? It's a really good question. It's really dependent on like who you're working with and style, right? Because like my approach to this, for example, is that my hypothesis is like, let's say I'm doing an iteration. I'll make this. It's like I'm literally spelling out like, I think if I increase my thumb stop ratio, but maintain the conversion rate, I'll make more money. And then this is what I'm going to come back to in a couple weeks during an analysis phase to say like, okay, did I validate that to be true or false? So this is my hypothesis. These are now the creatives that I launched to prove or disprove this hypothesis. And I can say, is it true or false? So I think it just depends on like who you're working with and the language you want to adopt. But really all you're trying to do is create a system where you can come back to say, was it good or not? You know what I mean? Perfect. I got you. No problem at all. Awesome, y'all. What else? What else? Any other questions that come to mind, or just like general things? I do want everyone to try these agents. You can tell how obsessive I am about this, but I think like a question that's coming to mind for me is, in each of your worlds, what I'm curious about is like, what is your job, and what is the primary goal of your job? So we haven't asked role questions, but who do we have here with us? Oh, and I see Cassandra had mentioned, like, can you show the creative fatigue piece? I can. Growth marketer, make money. Stefania, creative lead. Yeah, really cool. Keep those coming in as I'm pulling up the creative fatigue side. So Cassandra, on the creative fatigue side, the general thought process here is that you're looking at performance over time. So there's so many different ways that like fatigue is measured, but let's say I'm comparing something like my CPM to a ROAS. Essentially what I'm looking for is like, do I have an environment problem or do I have a creative problem? So I'm looking for the relationship, but the main goal is seeing performance over time, okay? I can go more detail into this if you want, but I just kept it relatively high level. But yes, who do we have with us today? So Suri, growth marketer, make money. You know how it goes. Get to the bread. Stefania, creative lead. Alexander, copywriter, head of creative strategy, marketing strategy. Alexandra on the UGC side. That's awesome. Caleb, creative services manager, longtime designer. That's awesome. Scaling the ads. Yep. Juliana, director of creative, a very small team, paid ads specifically. Eduardo, I'm really new to motion, so I don't have doubts. Cool. I lost the chat. Sorry. Digital director. That's what it is. Perfect. So a lot of people on the creative end. So I think the question that I have is for folks who lean more creative strategy, are you all comfortable with numbers? Like when we're talking about the different data points, are these pieces that resonate with you? So it's like ROAS, CPA, thumb stop ratios, all that kind of stuff. So you're on the media buying side, of course. Cool. Kind of, not crazily so. Kind of. Yeah, this is where the agents become so interesting, right? Because like ultimately anyone on the creative end, why this is interesting is because like what you are servicing is the same goal as Suri, for example, who's on the growth media side or growth marketing side. You are building assets that are going to make the company more money in one way or another. Like that's the main goal at the end of the day. And especially on paid social, we talked about this. Paid social, you need amazing creative in order to scale. So why I like to call this out is like a lot of the times when I'm saying what should you make next, what I'm really referring to is how do you analyze the data to determine what to make next. And this is where I'm hoping, like speaking to Mirella's level yourself up in this world of AI, but this is where I'm hoping a lot of the AI creative strategies and tasks I just show you set you up in a spot where you're able to then say, okay, great. Like I'm not great at this, but this gives me a starting point. Like this is what I'm going to try. Let's do it. And you start to learn slowly over time. Okay. Cool. Vanessa's out here grinding. Jobs on jobs on jobs. You know how it goes. Everybody, this has been a blast. Like I love this community. Like you can see how engaged you all are. The last couple of sessions, you just had a chance to kick it and talk. Like this has been incredible. If there are any other questions, just let me know in the chat. But everybody, I want to say again, for those of you who are still hanging out, like these are so fun. Like really want to see you at our next events. It's going to be awesome. I hope the sessions were super helpful, and let's all stay connected. Let's all stay connected. Keep this thing going. Okay. Amazing, everybody. Really appreciate it, y'all. No matter where you're at, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Enjoy the rest of your days, nights, and mornings. Take care.